Listen to me carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will wreck your perception of reality, and there's no going back. That anxiety you feel? It was never yours. It's a mental virus implanted in you around the age of 7, a silent trigger activating every time your consciousness tries to awaken. And I can prove it. They installed a psychological self-destruct program inside you, so advanced, so precisely tuned, you never even noticed. You were the target of a mind control experiment that started the day you were born, and you had no idea. But here's the truth they desperately don't want you to know. Your anxiety is proof that your soul is still alive. It's your spirit fighting back against a mental prison designed to turn you into a productive zombie. And if you're watching this at 3 a.m., unable to sleep, feeling that hollow ache gnawing at your chest, sensing something's wrong but can't name it, then you are exactly the kind of person they fear the most. Because your sensitivity, the very thing that makes you suffer, is your superpower. It makes you immune to their programming. It lets you see through the matrix, while everyone else remains blind. The ancient Egyptians had a word for people like you, Necharu, those who see through the veil. And there's a reason this truth has been hidden for thousands of years. Because once you wake up, you can no longer be controlled. Ever. In the Papyrus of Ani, buried deep in the tombs of the Valley of the Kings, there's a line archaeologists have tried to keep hidden for decades. He who controls man's fears controls the man. The pharaohs weren't just rulers. They were engineers of the human soul, masters of a science most believe never existed, because it was never meant to be found. That science didn't vanish, it evolved. Let me show you how the machine works. The neurological terror algorithm. Facebook's algorithm tracks exactly 52 biometric data points. Not just what you click, but how long you stare at a post, micro-expressions from your front camera, your breathing through your mic, scroll speed, all to calculate the exact moment you're psychologically most vulnerable. And when it finds that window, it strikes, delivering content designed to trigger your stress response. It's no accident you check your phone 150 times a day. This is military-grade neural programming. You've been turned into a lab rat in the largest operant conditioning experiment in human history. And every dopamine hit leaves you more empty, more dependent, more controllable than the last. The engineering of isolation. Ever wonder why you feel lonelier than ever, even though you're more connected than any generation in history? Because real connection threatens control. A person with true bonds, much harder to manipulate. So they sold you the illusion of connection, likes, comments, followers, while systematically dismantling your ability to form real relationships. They convinced you that vulnerability is weakness, that emotional need is a flaw, that needing others makes you codependent. But the truth is, that's how they broke you. The hijacking of your reward system. Your brain was designed to feel satisfaction from real accomplishments, from meaningful contributions, and mastering valuable skills. But that system has been hijacked, rewired, to chase empty metrics, salaries, degrees, material possessions, social media validation. It's like having real hunger and feeding it with junk food. Your soul stays starving, but you keep stuffing it with psychological garbage. The Egyptian experiment that never ended. In the pyramid texts of Unas, there are descriptions of a massive psychological experiment conducted by the priesthood of Ptah. Their aim, to see how much suffering they could inflict on a population before it finally rebelled. What they discovered was terrifying. If the suffering is introduced gradually, if it's normalized, packaged as necessary or natural, people don't just accept it, they defend it. That experiment never ended. It was perfected. They've trained you to defend your own psychological slavery. They've made you believe that working 60 hours a week in something you hate is called responsibility. That constant stress is ambition. That feeling empty after every success is just normal. They've programmed you to be your own jailer. The frequencies of mind control. Egyptian temples were built using specific acoustic frequencies, frequencies that triggered altered states of consciousness. They understood that certain vibrations could make the mind more suggestible, more obedient, easier to program. Your modern world uses the exact same technology, but at an industrial scale. The frequencies of anxiety, the constant hum of the city, the buzz of your devices, music engineered to agitate, all of it is calibrated to keep your nervous system in a permanent state of activation. You can't think clearly when your nervous system is under constant assault. The mantras of self-destruction. They've implanted mantras you repeat without even realizing, I'm not enough. I need to work harder. If I were smarter, more attractive, more successful, then I'd be happy. Everyone else has something I don't. These are not your thoughts. They are mental viruses deliberately implanted. The code of intergenerational trauma. Gabor Mate uncovered something the mass controllers have known for millennia. Trauma doesn't just affect the individual, it passes down epigenetically through generations. But here's what they don't tell you. This intergenerational trauma isn't accidental. It's manufactured. Trauma of purpose. Your grandparents worked in factories. They built tangible things. They could see the results of their effort. Your parents worked in offices doing what exactly? Many can't even explain what they do or why it matters. And you? You're working jobs that didn't even exist 20 years ago and could be automated tomorrow. They've disconnected you from any sense of genuine purpose, and then they wonder why you have existential anxiety. Trauma of identity. You're bombarded with conflicting messages about who you're supposed to be from every direction. Every social platform sells you a different version of success. Instagram says, be an influencer. LinkedIn says, be a CEO. TikTok says, go viral. Thinking the result? You have no idea who you really are. You wear prefab identities that shift with the platform, the audience, the trend. You don't have an authentic self. You have a collection of masks. The dark alchemy of control. Egyptian alchemists didn't just transmute metals. They transmuted consciousness. They had formulas for turning the gold of the human spirit into the lead of obedience. Formula 1. Separation, confusion, dependency. First, they separate you from your natural tribe, your family, your community, your traditions. Then they confuse you with contradicting information about what's right. Finally, they offer you dependency on work, on entertainment, on consumption, on medication. Formula 2. Overstimulation, exhaustion, compliance. They overstimulate your system until your nerves can't process any more. Once you're drained, your psychological defenses collapse and you accept anything that offers relief. Formula 3. Guilt, shame, self-sabotage. They make you feel guilty for basic human needs: rest, connection, purpose. Shame drives you into isolation, and isolation leads to self-sabotage because you start to believe you deserve to suffer. The awakening of your inner Ka. In Egyptian cosmology, every person is born with a Ka, a spiritual double, your inner Pharaoh, an aspect of consciousness meant to rule sovereignly over your experience. But your Ka has been asleep, letting external forces rule your inner kingdom. The pharaohs of the past developed specific protocols to awaken this inner power. The protocols of mental liberation. Thoth protocol, detached observation. Thoth, the god of wisdom, had the ability to observe without being affected by what he observed. This is the first skill you must reclaim. Practice. For 10 minutes each day, watch your thoughts as if you were a scientist observing a strange species. No judgment, no attempts to change them, no identification, just pure observation. This simple practice shatters years of programming because it breaks your compulsive identification with thought. Sekhmet protocol. Sacred rage. Sekhmet was the goddess of righteous war, the fury that destroys what no longer serves to make room for what does. Your anxiety carries this sacred rage. It's your soul violently rejecting the mental prison. Practice. Instead of suppressing your anxiety, use it as fuel. Ask yourself, what is my soul rebelling against? What part of my life needs to be destroyed so that my true power can emerge? Ptah Protocol. Conscious creation. Ptah was the god of creation through word and thought. The Egyptians understood that reality is malleable, and a trained mind can reshape circumstances. Practice. Each week, identify a specific limiting belief that keeps you stuck. Then, design deliberate experiences that challenge that belief. If you believe, "I'm not smart enough," seek direct evidence of your intelligence. If you believe, "No one values me," find ways to deliver genuine value. The Secrets of Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius wasn't just an emperor. He was an initiate in Egyptian mysteries who translated those teachings into Roman life. His meditations aren't abstract philosophy. They're a manual of psychological warfare against the forces that seek to enslave the mind. You have power over your mind, not over external events. This isn't passive resignation. It's psychological sovereignty. You're claiming your right to define the meaning of every experience. Everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. This single line annihilates mass programming. Every news story, every trend, every expert telling you how to feel, none of it is truth. You decide what to internalize. The mind that is undisturbed by external events finds happiness within itself. Happiness rooted in outside conditions is just consumer programming. True happiness arises when you reconnect with your essential self. The technique of psychological immunity. The ancient Egyptian initiates developed a method known as the construction of the light body, a system to make yourself immune to external psychological manipulation. Step 1. Identify the attack vectors. Pinpoint exactly how your psyche is being targeted. Is it fear, guilt, FOMO, social comparison, financial insecurity? Name the vector, and it begins to lose its power. Step 2. Build specific countermeasures. For every attack vector, create a precise antidote. If they attack you with fear of the future, practice memento mori to gain perspective. If they hit you with social comparison, practice radical gratitude for your unique path. Turn each manipulation into a doorway back to yourself. Step 3. Fortify the core. Engage in practices that reconnect you with your essence. Meditation, time in nature, artistic creation, genuine service to others. Anything that makes you feel more like your true self. This is not just self-help. It is psychological armor. It is the light body constructed from clarity, courage, and connection. The code of the immune ones. Only 3% of the population can absorb this kind of information without triggering immediate psychological resistance. The mass controllers call them deviants, misfits, troublemakers. But the ancient initiates called them necheru, those who see through the veil. If you've made it this far, if every word of this video has struck a deep chord in your soul without triggering denial or rationalization, then you are part of that 3%. You are one of the naturally immune. Traits of the immune ones. Extreme sensitivity. What the system calls hypersensitivity is actually expanded perception. You can detect lies others can't. You can sense when something feels off, even when everything looks fine on the surface. Instinctive rejection of false authority. You're not impressed by titles, credentials, or positions of power. You judge people by their authenticity, not their status. Hunger for truth. You would rather face a painful truth than live in a comfortable lie. That makes you dangerous to systems built on manipulation. Capacity for solitude. You can be alone without feeling lonely. This emotional independence frees you from the need for approval, the very leash that keeps the masses in line. The full awakening process. Phase 1. The shock of recognition. You realize that everything you believed about yourself and the world was programming. It's a painful moment, but a necessary one. Phase 2. Deconstruction. You begin systematically dismantling the beliefs, habits, and patterns that were never truly yours. It's like cleaning a virus from your system. Slower at first, but more powerful than ever once it's clear. Phase 3. Reconstruction. From your direct experience and inner wisdom, you begin building a new value system, new habits, and a new identity that is truly your own. Phase 4. Immunization. You develop the ability to automatically recognize and reject psychological manipulation. You become a free agent in a world full of mental slaves. The responsibility of power. With heightened perception comes great responsibility. Once you awaken, you face a choice. Option 1. The hermit. You retreat from the world to focus solely on your own liberation. Understandable, but limited. Option 2. The warrior. You fight the system head-on. It's noble, but exhausting. Option 3. The Pharaoh. You become a living example of what's possible. Your life becomes proof that there is another way to exist. Your coronation. Your anxiety was never the problem. It was the signal that you were ready to wake up. Every moment of suffering was preparing you for this. Every crisis was forging you for this revelation. Every time you felt like you didn't fit in, like something was wrong, like there had to be more to life, your soul was telling the truth. You are not broken. You are a sleeping Pharaoh, finally remembering your true nature. The system wants you to see your sensitivity as a weakness, but it's your greatest strength. It's what lets you detect lies others can't. It's what gives you access to states of consciousness locked away from the programmed masses. Your anxiety isn't proof that something's wrong with you. It's proof that something is profoundly right. It's your inner alarm, screaming that you've been living beneath your potential, following scripts written by others, betraying your own greatness. But that ends now. Your coronation has begun. If something awakened inside you while watching this, if you recognized truths your soul had been whispering, but your mind kept ignoring, then you belong to the 3% who can process this without triggering psychological defenses. But keep this absolutely secret for now. Share it only with those who've already shown the capacity to question the official reality. The ones still asleep will violently resist these truths and may try to sabotage your awakening. Subscribe to The Mental Pharaoh to access the full Egyptian protocols that can liberate you completely from the modern mental matrix. The next video reveals the exact technique Akhenaten used to deprogram enslaved minds, but only if you prove you're ready for knowledge of this magnitude. Your coronation as Pharaoh of your own consciousness is just beginning. The codes you're about to receive will irreversibly transform your reality.